Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the like button down below. I just wanted to let you guys know that this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only, along with how I'm taking this case. I'm going to be talking about the Zodiac killer and how this case is still considered unsolved in California, along with how the media in California and how it's still a lot of interest in 2021, since it's been 50-60 years since this case had happened, and that there are many people that believe they have been considered the killer but have never been proven. And now let's jump into the case. During the 1960s and early 70s, a serial killer would be later known as the Zodiac killer had terrorized the northern part of California, and that there was at least 5 confirmed victims, but later on the Zodiac killer would claim that he had killed at least 37 people, and that on December 20th, 1968, on Lake Herman Road in Vallejo, a 17-year-old named David F. and 16-year-old named Betty Lou Jensen were shot and killed while they were sitting in a parked vehicle in a gravel parking lot, like Lover's Lane kind of thing. And that by the time the police had arrived, Betty was found dead, but David was alive, but unfortunately he would die on the way to the hospital. And this was the first murder that the Zodiac conducted and had done and got away with it, and that the next crime the Zodiac did would happen on July 4th, 1969 in the Blue Rock Springs Park, only a few minutes away from the David and Betty K's death, and that the Zodiac killer would approach the parked car with a flashlight and murder 22-year-old Darlene F. and 19-year-old Michael M. And they were both still alive when they were only found, but Michael would be the only one to survive. And Michael was able to describe that the shooter looked that of a young white male and would be described between 26 to 30 years old, a stocky build, approximately 200 pounds or larger in weight, about 5'8", with a light brown curly hair and a large face. Approximately an hour later, the police would receive a phone call from someone who had claimed to be the shooter of Michael and Darlene, along with the other killing that happened, and that on Herman Road, and that on August 4th, 1969, another phone call would be received that would state with the phrase, "This is the Zodiac speaking," and this was making the first time the killer was referring to themselves as Zodiac. And that on 4 days later, there was a code that was given to the newspaper outlets, pretty much saying, "Solve this. This is one of the clues of who I am," and that it was cracked by a couple in San Leans, California. The code would read as followed: "I like killing because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all to kill. Something gives me the most thrilling experience. It's even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and those I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for the afterlife." And this is really interesting just because of how there's a possibility he's maybe religious, I don't know. And that after claiming 3 more lives and causing a nationwide terror, the Zodiac killer would write his final letter on January 29th, 1974, that would conclude, the letter would conclude a new score of me, aka the Zodiac, equals 37. San Francisco Police Department equals 0. The identity of the killer was never found despite DNA evidence that would identify the Zodiac killer. They just didn't have the technology now would be able to define it more, but they have evidence from the last killing of the cabbie driver, but they just can't technically prove it was this person that they missed, because the 911 call they received, there was a white individual that did it, but somehow when dispatch gave it back to the police department, it was a black guy, so they kind of walked by him without even thinking about it. And that the FBI, there's now I'm getting into the theories of it, and that the FBI would say that the Zodiac killer is still open 50 plus years later after alleged identification, and that there are 8 theories on who the killer is or possibly is. And the first person is Gary Francis Posey is the killer, because the casebreaker, an independent team of cold case investigators recently claimed that they have identified the Zodiac as a man named Gary Francis Posey, and that they had claimed that even though he had died in 2018, had some scars on his face similar to one of the sketches of the Zodiac killer. Along with, they also claimed that the forensics evidence, including the DNA, would link Posey to murders and done additional killings. They also say that if you remove the letters of Posey's name from one of the ciphers lifted by the Zodiac, it really relieves an alternative message. But both the FBI and the San Francisco PD say that the case is still open. They have no information to release, and that this means that there is still a chance that some of the many other theories about the killer is accurate. The second theory would be that the Zodiac killer was 2 people, and a lot of people believe that there was at least 2 or more, because that there were people involved in the Zodiac crimes, the killer and the writer, and that these people could have been working together or on their own, like kind of independently of each other, and that another theory is that the police did encounter the Zodiac killer, like I did mention previously. That there's like a question that did racism play a role in the police failing to catch the Zodiac killer? Possibly, because this is during like segregation and desegregation time, like after the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And that the police did patrol the area near where Taxi Paul Stein was killed, despite all the evidence and investigation made by police and detectives think that the Zodiac killer is white. But the 2 police officers didn't get the memo, and that one myth of the Zodiac killer has been to evade capture, and his identity hasn't been found, preventing the police from being able to like get the DNA. And that in one of his letters, the Zodiac claimed to be coated his fingers in 2 coats of airplane cement, preventing leaving like fingerprints behind. But this hasn't been like proven or debunked. And that leads into kind of like my next one, which is that the Zodiac killer is linked to the Manson family. Give me one moment, sorry. Okay, kind of backtracking, the other theory I did mention was the Zodiac killer using cement, just because of how elusive he was with cement to conceal his fingerprints. And now my next theory is that the Zodiac killer crimes were linked to the Manson family, just because of some people did believe that the Zodiac killer was Bruce Dern, who was a member of the Manson family, and that he is Bruce Bannon was convicted of murder for crimes while he was with the Manson family. So being the Zodiac killer wouldn't be out of character, and that the Zodiac Manson connection theory does go further, going into the evidence why Dern is the Zodiac killer, and the connection between Dern and then one of the Zodiac killer alleged victims was Sherry Joe Bates, and that he had returned to Tennessee but relocated back to California in 1964 near the time of the San Diego honeymoon murders. He had lived in Anthem, Riverside, Brunei Park, Costa Mesa, and spent some time in Newport Beach. Zodiac victim Sherry Joe Bates frequent those locations. But however, the Riverside police recently claimed that the Zodiac killer had nothing to do with the Bates murder, stating that the link was the letter claiming responsibility. And my sixth theory is that the Zodiac called a television show, and that on October 22nd, 1969, the Zodiac killer had called Oakland Police Department demanding that either Melvin B. or Francis Lee Bailey, both players, go on air to appear in Jane Dunbar's TV show later that day, and that Melvin B did agree to it. A man by the name of Sam called into Dunbar's show claiming to be the Zodiac killer, but quickly hung up, so the police couldn't trace the call down, because now it's only like seconds, while the back then it took like you had to be on the line for like 5 or 10 minutes to at least get like a triangle of where the person was. And now the seventh theory is that there is no Zodiac killer, and that is the Zodiac killer just a shame, and that this blog called the Zodiac Hoax certainly thinks there is. The author of the blog did base her argument around the issue that only a small number of people involved in the investigation of the Zodiac killer would believe that there's a Zodiac killer. And the final theory, this is going to sound funny, but a lot of people believe that Ted Cruz is the Zodiac killer just because it's more of a joke than believable. But the theory was spread across the internet during the U.S. 2016 presidential election, because particularly around during the Republican primary elections of who they're going to pick and stuff. And in October 2017, Ted Cruz himself even tweeted out one of the Zodiac killer's clues that he had left for the police during a Twitter spat. And I find that funny. I don't think Ted Cruz is that old enough to be the Zodiac killer, but there are conspiracies on who the killer was, but there are multiple killers during the time. I would say that there is a possibility that this was committed by multiple people because of the inconsistent descriptions, the police memos and stuff like that, and how like span out the killer was. But anyway, I would love to hear you guys' opinion on this case. Hit that subscribe button and hit that like button and share with your friends.